All In Sports Network. We love sports.
All right, welcome back into All In Mizzou. Happy Thursday. It's preview day, one of my favorite days, where we get to take a look at the upcoming matchup for the Missouri Tigers. Missouri coming off a 38-17 loss to Texas A&M last weekend. This is their last home game of the season. This is senior night, so there's a lot to play for still, despite being officially eliminated from the college football playoff. Before we get into that, Missouri played basketball last night. They played Minnesota, their toughest opponent yet, and they took care of business against the Golden Gophers, winning 83-60. I'm not going to get into this too much because I think tomorrow I'll have James on, and we'll talk about this game. So I'm not going to do too much here, but Missouri's offense came alive very quickly in the second half, and things got out of hand for Minnesota. But Missouri now 4-0. This is their best win by far. Anthony Robinson, 10 points. Sebastian Mack was very big, 14 points. Mark Mitchell, 18 points. Let's see. Northweather, 6 points. T.O. Barrett, 8 points. Jacob Cruz, 4 for 6 from 3. 8 rebounds at 14 points. Good game for him. And Jaden Stone, 13 points. Missouri shot 11 of 22 from 3. That's 50%. That's pretty good most of the time. That's going to get it done for you. Hold on. Get this water. I've got a bit of a weird headache going on. Hydrate. Everybody hydrate if you've got water. Go ahead and take a sip. All right, here we go. Let's get into this thing, man. Missouri plays Mississippi State on Saturday at Faurot Field, or on Faurot Field, 6:45 on SEC Network. Mississippi State enters the game with 5-5. They are 1-5 in SEC play. Mississippi State beat Arizona State non-conference. That's their big win. They also beat Arkansas, came back against Arkansas for their one and only SEC win. Missouri enters this game 6-3, 2-3 in the SEC. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Their one win coming in overtime against Auburn, a game that they maybe shouldn't have even won. It was lucky that they stayed in that game. So Missouri in pretty bad form right now. Mississippi State not in great form either. They're coming off what I would say is a pretty blowout-like loss to Georgia. So let's get into this. I like to look at these matchups. I like the history of teams playing each other. They've matched up 5 times in the past. Missouri holds a 3-2 advantage. The most recent game coming last season in Starkville, Mississippi. And I was at that game. I got to go cover that game in person. And you know what? I got to say this about Starkville. Awesome place. They were not a good football team last year, but their fans came and showed out so loud. Those cowbells are no joke, man. They really do ring the hell out of them. I loved the stadium because we got to work in an open air press box, which for those who don't know, I'm a big advocate of those. They're awesome. Usually your press boxes are closed. Typically the ones I've been in are closed off from the environment. You're in a nice temperature controlled room. It's very luxurious in there, whatever, but it takes away from being a part of the game. And Mississippi State has an open air press box where you're pretty much sitting in the stands just above everybody else. You're working in the elements. You're hearing the cowbells. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. I would definitely go to a game again in Starkville. It was a really cool experience. And I truly believe everyone should have an open air press box, or at least have the ability to open the windows of your press box, because I understand sometimes it gets cold, you got to close it or whatever. But open air press boxes are great, and it was a really cool game to cover. Missouri won that game 39-20. I remember Nate Noel had 90-something yards. Marcus Carroll had 3 touchdowns. So the Thunder and Lightning duo there for Missouri. The running backs were great. Luther Burden had about 90 receiving yards, I think. Maybe 90, I don't know. I don't remember. He led the team in receiving. It may have been somewhere around 90. He also caught his final touchdown pass of his Missouri career there in Starkville. A really nice play from Brady Cook to Luther Burden. The first matchup between these two teams dates all the way back to October 3rd, 1981. 1981, man. What was happening in 1981? I don't know. I was not around, but Missouri was beating the Bulldogs. I think this was in Jackson, Mississippi, if I remember correctly. So there you go. Start Me Up by the Rolling Stones came out in 1981. Okay. What about let's see this. Biggest movie of 1981. Oh yeah, great one. One of my favorites, one of my dad's favorites. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in 1981. So did Superman 2, the best of the original Superman movies. So did Stripes with Stripes was funny with Bill Murray. That came out in 1981, I believe, if this is all telling me the truth. So a couple good movies for sure coming out in 1981. Anyways, let's get back to football. Missouri leads the series 3-2, has a chance to extend it this weekend in Columbia. Here's some stats for you to know. Total offense. This is in regards to the SEC. These numbers all relate to the SEC. So Missouri has the fifth best total offense in the SEC. It doesn't feel like it right now, but it does. It's averaging 151.8 yards per game. That's good enough for fifth in the conference. Mississippi State, pretty middle of the pack here throughout, you'll see. Right here, they're ninth. They average 399.6 yards per game. Passing offense, you have Missouri, 12th in the SEC, averaging 219.4 passing yards per game. That total came down big time after Matt Zollers threw for 77 yards last week. Hopefully, Missouri's passing offense can get some momentum this week. It'll be Zollers again back there, although something really interesting on the injury report. Bo Pribula is doubtful. So that is an upgrade from his out designation. He is now doubtful, which tells me there is a pretty good chance that he will be back at some point, which will be interesting to see how they deal with that. But this week, I do believe it will be Matt Zollers back there again. Mississippi State, 8th in the conference in passing offense, 242.8 yards per game. They also have a little bit of a quarterback decision to make. I'll talk about that later. Rush offense, Missouri, of course, is number 1 in the conference, averaging 232.3 yards per game. Mississippi State is 9th, averaging 156.8 yards on the ground per game. Scoring offense, Missouri is 7th, 33.3 points per game. Mississippi State is 9th, 32 points per game. Total defense, Missouri is 2nd. This defense is truly elite, I would say. I think this is a really good defense, playoff caliber defense to me. And so it's a shame that we're kind of wasting it with the offense. But the total defense, 2nd in the conference, giving up only 270 yards per game. I think they're only behind the Oklahoma Sooners, which Missouri will go play them next week in Norman. Mississippi State, 14th in total defense, giving up 388.7 yards per game. Passing defense, Missouri is 1. How about that, man? That's pretty impressive. Giving up 162.7 passing yards per game. Mississippi State is 9th, allowing 212.5 pass yards per game. Rush defense, Missouri is 5th, giving up an average of 107.3 yards per game. That was lower before, but Texas A&M, their second half, they were able to get things going. They ended up rushing for, I think, over 250 yards or right around 250 yards, something. Mississippi State, really not great in the run defense game, which is a huge thing for Missouri. This is an opportunity to really get Jamal Robertson and Mott Hardy seriously going downhill and working. They give up 176.2 yards per game on the ground. Scoring defense, Missouri is 5th in the conference. 19.1 points per game allowed. Mississippi State is 14th. They give up a lot of points, 26.3 points per game, given up by the Bulldog defense. Some other stats. Mississippi State has the 119th best first down defense in the country. So that means they give up a ton of first downs. Missouri, on the other hand, is 13th in first down offense. So this is an opportunity, again, to go on some of these longer sustained drives where you're letting your defense rest a little bit. That was a huge problem. Time of possession was a huge thing in the Texas A&M game. Hopefully in this game, Missouri's offense can go on some long sustained drives and give that defense some let them get some oxygen. Another big stat here. Mississippi State is 127th in the country. That is almost last in sacks allowed. They allow an average of 3.2 sacks per game. Missouri is tied for 17th in team sacks this year in the country. They average 2.67 sacks per game. So this is a huge mismatch. This is an area where Missouri can feast. This is also an area where Missouri can feast. Run defense, rush defense, 15. Rush offense, number 1. Huge mismatch in terms of what Missouri can do offensively. All right, let's get up here. Let's talk about Mississippi State a little bit. They are coached by head coach Jeff Lebby. Jeff Lebby has been everywhere, and he has been a part of some of the best offenses you can probably remember in the last decade and a half. He was a part of that really, really good Baylor team with Art Briles. Was on staff for that whole debacle, but he's coaching here now, and later he went on to coach UCF, I think, with Scott Frost, for that really good UCF team that went undefeated. Then he went to Ole Miss to be offensive coordinator. Then he went to Oklahoma to be offensive coordinator, and now he is a first-time head coach at Mississippi State. Last year he was hired. They weren't great last year. He's got a 7-15 record as a head coach. Things have started to turn around here a little bit for Mississippi State. They've been close in a lot of games, but still not a ton of results in conference play. And some of his coaching, decision-making, and management hasn't been great in terms of late-game situations. But, this is a feisty team that's gotten a lot better as the year's gone on. Here's the quarterback question mark I'm talking about. So Blake Shapen has been this quarterback all year. He was a quarterback last year. He may have gotten hurt at the end. I don't remember. But before that, he spent a lot of time at Baylor, and then he transferred to Mississippi State. He has thrown this year for 2,234 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's been sacked 31 times. One of those sacks came last week against Georgia, where he was hit pretty hard by a Georgia defender, had to exit the game, which led to Kamari Taylor, true freshman quarterback, Kamari Taylor coming into the game. Kamari Taylor was a 4-star quarterback recruit out of high school in the 2025 class, like a top 90 player in the country, really highly sought after player. He comes in, he plays pretty well. Doesn't pass for a ton of yards, but his total yardage is 140 yards. I think it was like, what was it? It was like 80-something passing yards, 50-something rush yards. He also ran for 3 rushing touchdowns. So this guy is a threat with his feet. Missouri has gotten pretty used to playing mobile quarterbacks, so I imagine this is going to be a similar gameplay. But the problem is here, we don't know who we're going to see. Missouri doesn't know which quarterback they're facing. I think it's probably going to be Blake Shapen. It sounds like he is healthy enough to go. I think he's been practicing. We'll see. But both of these guys are pretty good players, apparently. One of them is a true freshman, so it would be a true freshman on true freshman matchup between Kamari Taylor and Matt Zollers, which could be interesting. But I do believe it'll be Blake Shapen, the experienced guy, getting the start in Columbia. Let's see here. Mississippi State's got 2 running backs that have been semi-productive this year. They've got Fluff Bothwell. What a great name. Fluff Bothwell. Pretty good. He has run for 534 yards and 6 touchdowns. Pretty good. It looks like actually I'm looking at this now. Kamario Taylor also played a little bit against Arkansas, their one win, and he ran for rushing touchdown then. So he has played a little bit here and there. Fluff Bothwell, though, back to Fluff. He is a 5'10", 230-pound sophomore out of Alabama. He leads the team in rushing. Right behind him is Devon Booth, who has 513 yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. Devon Booth, a 5'10", 205-pound senior from Las Vegas, Nevada. Both of these guys together make a pretty good running game. The running game is pretty middle of the pack here, as you can see. Brennan Thompson, though, leads the conference in receiving yards. Brennan Thompson, this guy's really good. He has 808 receiving yards on the year. The senior out of Spearman, Texas. He played at Oklahoma before this. Before that, he played at the University of Texas. He has 3 games in which he's gone over 100 yards this year. Against Florida, a game they definitely should have won, he had 155 receiving yards, which is a season high. Against Arizona State, a game they did win, he was really good. He caught 6 passes, 133 yards for 2 touchdowns. And then against Arkansas, he had 107 yards in that win. He is 5'9", 170 pounds, a speedster type of guy. They also have another receiver that's pretty good that can hurt you. He's also right there at the top of the SEC receiving list. He has 680 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, a junior, 5'11", 180-pound junior out of Converse, Texas. He's had some big games too. He has gone over 100 yards also 3 times, and it was in the same 3 games. Arizona State, he had 108 yards and a touchdown. Florida, he had 107 yards, and Arkansas, he had 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. So these 2 guys together are very, very difficult to cover. Another big challenge here in the SEC for Missouri secondary. Seems like every week they got to play a really good receiver or 2. On the defensive side of things, obviously your run defense here for Mississippi State is pretty weak. This is an area where you can definitely exploit. But an area where they are really good is back in the secondary. Mississippi State is tied for 2nd in the country in interceptions gained this season. They have 11 interceptions. They're led by safety Brylan Lanier. He's got 50 tackles, 1 sack, 2 passes defended, and this team-high 3 interceptions. You also have another safety, Jerron Manning, 70 tackles, 4 passes defended, and an interception. Mississippi State is, however, without a leader of this team. Junior from Fulton, Mississippi, Isaac Smith, another safety. He's got an interception this year. He's got 3 passes defended. He is out. He went out in the Georgia game. I do think that is going to be a pretty big loss for Mississippi State back there. But as you can see, they got other guys who've been very productive this year. So even without him, I think this defense, the secondary is going to pose a threat. I think this is a perfect opportunity for Missouri to really, run the ball here. All right, let's flip the board. Let's go this way. Boom. All right, let's start over here. Keys for Missouri. Here we go. Missouri's defensive line versus Mississippi State's offensive line. I talked about this earlier. Mississippi State's offensive line, Mississippi State's offense has given up a lot of sacks. Almost, right there at the top in the country. Blake Shapen's been sacked 31 times. Missouri, on the other hand, has a defensive line that is towards the top in the country in sacks. This is a game where you have to make your presence known. If you're number 9, Zion Young. If you're number 8, Damon Wilson. If you're number 19, Darius Smith. These guys, Sterling Webb, Marquise Grosjean, these defensive linemen have to get after the quarterback. This is a weakness of Mississippi State. You have to capitalize on this weakness, especially because it is a strength for Missouri. Number 2, Missouri's running backs versus Mississippi State's run defense, or just defense in general. You have Ahmad Hardy, who still leads the conference in rushing yards. You have Jamal Roberts, who's coming off a very good game against Texas A&M. These two guys should totally eat against this run defense. This run defense isn't very good. They allow a lot of run yards. This is the perfect game to get your offense back on track. Run the ball, open up some passing opportunities. This is your chance right here. Kirby, this is my message to Kirby Moore, offensive coordinator. Run the damn football. Come on, run the ball here. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. Let's make things easier for your freshman quarterback, Matt Zollers, who I'll talk about here in a second. Come on, let's see this thing. Missouri, third matchup I'm looking at. Missouri's defensive backs secondary, essentially, versus Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans Jr., that really dynamic receiving duo that this team has. It's going to be tough. The secondary each week, in my opinion, starts to look better, starts to feel better, But another test. Every week you're tested. Here's another opportunity, especially because this team's run game really isn't that prolific. They're not going to try to do it too much. This is a team that does like to pass the ball, especially if they have Blake Shapen playing, which I expect they will. He's a guy who can throw it around. He's a guy who can get things going through the air. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. Has Missouri's secondary really improved enough? Because if they can shut down the pass, if they can do their best to keep these guys out of the end zone or, keep their catches down, you're going to have a really nice chance of winning this football game. Matt Zollers versus everybody and everything is my fourth matchup. This guy has it all stacked against him, coming off a really tough performance. People are talking about him. Had to play a really good Mississippi State defense. Don't think his offensive coordinator did him any favors either. Just looked very disconnected out there. Here's your chance. You're back at home. This is your last home game of the season. You're playing a defense that is vulnerable in the pass game and the run game. Here's your chance, Matt. Let's take the easy throws. Let's set up big stuff later. Let's run the ball. Let's control the offense. Let's look a little bit more like we looked against Vanderbilt. I think if he can do that, I expect him to bounce back. I expect him to look a lot better. You do have that secondary back there for Mississippi State that will be, that's a good secondary. So we'll have to see, how he manages that. But I think you just got to take the easy throws, get the ball to your playmakers, get the ball to number 1, Alubade, get the ball to number 3, former Mississippi State Bulldog, Kevin Coleman Jr., probably looking for a nice little revenge game here. Get it to 0, Josh Manning. Get it to 2, Marquise Johnson, Speedy Johnson. Get it to your tight ends. Come on, let's get the ball out quickly, and then we can set up the deep ball. Let's see what Zollers can do, see if he can bounce back with another week of reps with the ones under his belt. Let's see. Oh, boy, we got some barking going down there for my dogs. Let me pause it and see what's going on. All right, all good. No reason to panic. Scout's just protecting the house here. Come here. People like it when you come say hi. Come here. Come up here. Come up here. Jump. Jump, jump, jump. Come on. All right, never mind. Whatever. All right, let's get to my picks for the week. I went 1-3 last week. Not my best effort, admittedly. I've moved now to 9-7 overall, so still profitable. If you want to tail me. You should. I'm so profitable. Let's see what I have this week, though. I have a bunch of the home teams, 3 home teams, 1 away team to cover. First of all, I got Alabama hosting Oklahoma. I think Alabama covers the 6.5 points. I think Alabama is just a much better team here. Oklahoma's defense is really good. I do think there's some question marks with that offense, especially Oklahoma's run game. John Mateer hasn't really gotten back into a rhythm since his injury. We'll see if he can. But this Alabama defense has been playing very well. So I think it will be tough to get things going again for them. I think this is probably an Alabama win by a touchdown. If that's the case, Oklahoma probably eliminated from the college football playoff, right? They already have 2 losses, don't they? I think they do. Let me check that, though, to be sure. Oh, man. The doorbell rang. I got to go deal with this. Sorry, I had some chaos there with the doorbell. I had to go deal with that. Good grief. Yeah, anyway, like I was saying, a loss here kind of eliminates Oklahoma from the playoff. conversation. So I think Alabama does it. I think they also cover. All right, I got Mississippi State at Missouri. I'm taking Missouri to cover. I think they bounce back here. I don't think Mississippi State's defense is good enough. I think their offense probably isn't good enough either. I think Missouri wins this game, and I think they win by a touchdown at least. I have Texas going into Athens and covering. I don't know if they'll win, but I do think Texas is really starting to hit its stride. The offense looks good. Georgia's defense is not the Georgia defense we've become accustomed to. I think Texas can put up some points. I also think their defense is really good. I think they can win this thing outright. We'll see. Florida at Ole Miss. Give me the Ole Miss Rebels to cover the 14.5 points. Florida is an absolute mess right now. Really, they are. Absolute mess. I think they are going to lose this game handedly. That's what I think. But we'll see. I could be wrong. I do think I am going to take – hold on one second. I am taking Ole Miss to cover the 14.5 points. That is a lot of points, but Ole Miss has a lot to play for. Florida really doesn't. My upset pick, I have Arkansas to beat LSU. I don't feel super good about that. Now I'm thinking about it though. I like Texas. I think this is very possible. Texas plus, I think it's 190. If you want to take that, there's 2 bonus bets. I'm not going to force you to take them, but I think Texas can win this game. I also think Arkansas can win that game because LSU is quite a mess right now. So we'll see. The last thing we have today, my prediction. Here we go. Like you guys already know, I'm predicting Missouri to win this game because I'm betting on them there. Give me Missouri 31. Give me Mississippi State 21. 31-21. Missouri wins. Missouri covers. Missouri gets back into the win column. That's my prediction. All right, that's all I have for the preview today. I will be back tomorrow, of course. We're not going to talk much football, though. We're going to talk basketball tomorrow with our basketball guy, James Cross, coming in. So be tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. Come back for that. Thanks for watching today. Appreciate everybody who watches. Missouri, Mississippi State this weekend, 6:45, Columbia, Missouri on SEC Network. It's a big one. We'll see what happens. Enjoy your Thursday. See you tomorrow.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.